One very important aspect of recovery is family participation. Our next speaker, Stephanie Frank, will tell us why this is so.
Parents need to be advocates because there is no one else who can speak better about the needs of this family, especially when it comes to issues related to adolescent substance abuse. It is parents who understand what it is like to wait up for their sons and daughters who they know will be high or drunk when they come home. It is parents who lay awake at night wondering if their daughter is safe. It is parents who wait anxiously by the phone, waiting for their son's first call from treatment. It is parents who love their children no matter what. I work for the Illinois Federation of Families. IFF is an advocacy organization for families of children with emotional challenges, including helping families with adolescents with substance abuse problems. Prior to working as an advocate with IFF, I worked in the Access to Recovery program, helping newly released prisoners get connected to services in their communities. Many of these people needed substance abuse treatment. Some of these people were parents wondering how to get connected with their children. Many were adult children wondering how to get reconnected to their own parents. Substance abuse has a way of wreaking havoc on family relationships. Before getting involved in the substance abuse community, I worked for almost 20 years in child welfare. Throughout my career, I have seen parents make tough choices when it comes to their kids. I have seen parents participate and consent to the decision to terminate their own parental rights to their children because they realized they were not able to provide for them. I have also seen parents who, against all odds, have decided to pursue getting their children returned to them. Both of these decisions are often based on substance abuse issues. I have seen the strength of parents. As a society, we do a great job of supporting families when the baby is on the way. But after the baby is born, often we back off. It is probably after the baby is born that families need the most help. The challenges of parenting are the best kept secrets. We don't always talk about how hard it is. Everyone expects that once you have that baby, you'll know what to do. Families need varying levels of support throughout their lives together. Families need the most help when they are in crisis. Adolescent substance abuse is a family crisis that demands support outside the family. Parents are put in a position to have to speak up and say, "I need help." Parents are also put in the position to have to advocate for the needs of their adolescent and the needs of their families. Speaking up can be frightening because there is stigma attached to admitting, one, you have a problem in your family, and two, that your child is abusing alcohol and/or other drugs. It is the strength of parents and families to see beyond this stigma and get the help they need. The more parents speak up and speak to each other, the more likely the stigma of adolescent substance abuse will diminish and other families can get the help that they need. My job is to find ways to make that happen and to help facilitate connections between families so they can find the strength to speak up publicly about the havoc that adolescent substance abuse causes in families. The author Flannery O'Connor said, "The truth does not change according to our ability to stomach it." Isn't that what being in a family is all about? Dealing with the truth? If you are the parent of an adolescent experimenting or abusing alcohol or other drugs, you know that the truth isn't always pretty. Ignoring the truth doesn't make it go away. Accepting the truth for yourself and then helping your teen accept the truth is no easy task. No one can speak to this truth or understand this truth better than families who have been through it. My job is also to help parents find their voice. Parent voice is the most important because they can speak the truth and they can speak from the heart. They can speak passionately about issues that affect them, whether it's voicing their opinion about state and federal funding for treatment programs, whether it's educating or mentoring other parents about substance abuse, whether it's calling or writing letters to big alcohol companies. Parents can speak to these issues without flashy statistics or political savviness. Parents can speak up by telling their personal stories of how their families are affected by alcohol and other drugs. There is nothing more effective than the truth. I work in the field of advocacy because I recognize the strength of people speaking up. I know there is tremendous power in people being vocal about issues. Adolescent substance abuse is a social issue that needs advocates and people willing to speak up about the truth. Families speaking passionately are as valuable as a bunch of experts reciting statistics and research. I know that change can happen when families speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thus far in the second segment of this webcast, we've given you an overview of the addiction workforce, presented several students that are going into the field, and now we'd like to address the issue of staying in the addictions field. I'm going to, at this time, introduce to you first Sonia, then Rafael, followed by Renee. I'm going to ask them each to come to the podium and share their insights on this particular subject. Sonia?
Thank you, everybody, for having me here today. Again, my name is Sonia Martorell, and I am the supervisor and counselor of the Adolescent Substance Abuse Program at Pilsen Wellness Center. I was asked to speak on why I stay in the field. I have to say that I love it. I absolutely love working with the kids. I like to see them succeed and overcome the challenges that they're faced with every day. I work with adolescents from the ages of 12 years old to 20 years of age, and they go through quite a bit. They have social pressures, they have, role models that they're looking up to in the media. They're not exactly the greatest role models. And so here I come in. I go to work every day, and I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to talk to the parents and let them know that their kids will rise above the problems that they're having. For those parents who are listening out there, I am proof of that. I experimented with drugs, although I never became an addict, or so I thought, perhaps. I did experiment with marijuana, and I had my phase. And when I speak to the parents, I let them know. Bring them to treatment. Give them support. Don't give up on them, because they can turn out okay. I went to college. I had a great time. And I did my share of partying, which is why I do talk to the kids. I let them know you can have fun. You can have fun. You have to balance it out. You have to be responsible. And if you know you have a problem, get help. That's why we're here. That's why the substance abuse counselors that work with adolescents do what they do, is because we love it. We love to see the moms, full of joy when they see their kids complete treatment, when they see their children go back to high school or enter college. And that's why I'm here today, and that's why I stay in the field and plan on staying in the field. Thank you very much.
Hello. My name is Rafael Rivera. I'm Vice President at Healthcare Alternative Systems. I didn't start in the field. I actually started in mental health. I went to Northwestern University for graduate school, and in that process, I started losing who I was, my identity, my culture. And I had to take a leave of absence. I wound up going back to the community. And while I started counseling in mental health, I started finding my identity back within my culture. And that was one of the most amazing things. Because as I was helping people, I was being helped. So at one point, then, I started working in inpatient mental health. I was at St. Elizabeth's, and I started there around 1990. And the number of people that were coming into treatment at that time, I would say that initially, in inpatient mental health, in a psychiatric unit, I had around 25% that had a dual diagnosis. But by the time I left in 96, it was up to like 75 to 80%. And that's one of the things that drove me to the field. I got to that point where I said, I can make a difference. If there's this revolving door where people are coming back into the units and coming back into the units, and I had my own misconceptions. So I said, it has to be the drugs and the alcohol. So I should go out there and make a difference. I have to make a difference in my community. Well, in my ignorance, I went out, and what I found was a field that was full of passion. one of the things that I observed when I started in the field, and of course I went into management because I always said, well, it's always administration's fault that I'm not happy, so I need to go into management and make a difference there. So one of the things that I found when I started at HAS was people, the workforce, that had such a passion for what they did. And as I would go out to meetings, I would meet other people from other agencies who had such a passion for what they did. I was truly amazed at how a field in general could really encapsulate so much passion. It's actually kind of scary at times. The other thing that I noticed from the counselors was this love for clients. That in the mental health field, I did also observe that. I'm not trying to say that the mental health field doesn't have that, but I noticed a love for client that was so intense and so overwhelming. And I think because when I started in the field, there were a lot more people in recovery providing services. That doesn't mean that professional people coming into the field cannot have the same love for client. But I think there is that connection that as counselors, when we come in that haven't been through our own dependency issues, we have empathy. Well, hopefully we do, because if not, we were in the wrong field. But we should have that empathy, and we can connect. But there is this love for client that really gets espoused from the recovery community. The other thing is that I could see a dramatic difference. People are coming in. Around that time, I read a book called The Philosophy of Addiction. And a very interesting book. And it was comparing addiction to kind of like people who had problems with dependency to saints. You know, anything the saints were at the gates of hell, and they experienced all the pain and torment, and they found redemption. While people who are in dependency found themselves in the gates of hell without redemption. And I thought that was a very interesting way of looking at things. Because then when I saw our clients coming out of treatment and getting better and moving on into recovery, it was an amazing sight. That's when I started feeling that passion that I found in the field when I first started. Because that was such an amazing sight to have people that had suffered so much and had given so much of themselves and were close to death physically and spiritually to then bloom like flowers. So, the other thing that one of the reasons I stay in the field too is that it's a very young field. So when we start talking about the recovery-oriented communities of care, every time there's something different that's happening. You know, we're starting a recovery management program, so there's always something new and exciting as we start learning and connecting and growing. And so, yes, now that we kind of got the acute care component somewhat down, now we're moving over and saying, hey, this is a chronic disease. Let's move it into the chronic field. And let's look at this as how do we help people move into recovery. So the field is really exciting. It's full of passion. It's full of life. And that's one of the reasons that I stay and I plan to stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Spina. I'd like to thank DASA and Emma Redmond for asking me to join in Recovery Month. I've been a certified alcohol and drug counselor for 5 years now. I've been in the social service field for 8. I currently work at Maryville Academy in their mental health and substance abuse field. On a daily basis, I work with about 22, 13 to 18-year-olds that have severe mental health, such as bipolar, schizophrenia, conduct disorder, along with serious substance abuse issues. They're chemically dependent on alcohol, cocaine, marijuana, heroin. And I can say that every day when I go into work, I do not know what I'm going to expect. The words chaos and drama and it being chaotic are very normal words for all of us that work in the field, I'm sure. And part of that is that even though I don't know what to expect, I still love my job. I can say that some of the reasons that I got into the field were definitely just for the helping profession, wanting to be part of change that people need in addiction. I love the kids that I work with. I love the people that I work with. They're just filled with the knowledge and experience that they have. I learn something new every day. I love seeing change happen with people who don't believe that change is possible. I love seeing hope restored. I love seeing faith restored. I love seeing families and dreams restored. I love seeing people, and I love seeing people and their self-worth and their dignity restored above all else. And for most people, you'll hear in the field of addiction, this disease that is cunning and baffling and that can take your life. The passion that the workers here that need to have in this field is very important. So I would just say, again, thank you very much for having me on this panel. For those of you that are starting in the field, it's a tough field. It's not easy, but you're going to love it. You truly are going to love it. For my colleagues in the field, we need to keep hope alive and know that the work that we do is worth something. And again, thank you, everybody, for having me.
Thank you very much, all of you, for letting us continue to stay in the addictions area and are committed to this field. The previous speakers were all service providers. Now we're going to hear from 3 people who represent how the addictions field is both diverse and inclusive. They will share their various paths to the addiction field and talk about what it means to them. Let me present Carolyn Hartfield, Susan Moses, and I want to mention, by the way, these are colleagues of mine, and they contribute a lot to what goes on in DASA as a single state agency. So let's start with you, Carolyn.
Hi, my name is Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. And I am grateful to be recovering from a hopeless, helpless state of mind. I've been in recovery 17 years. By the grace of God, it will be 18 years in November. I got into this field because of my sponsor. She told me I needed to practice the 7th tradition, which means you need to go to work and take care of yourself, basically. And my goal in life was not to work. She asked me if I wanted to be a substance abuse counselor in Cook County Jail. And I looked at her and said, Cook County Jail? I'm not going in there with them thieves, the murderers, them prostitutes and stuff. What is wrong with you? And she said, well, who do you hang out with every day? And at the time, I was living in the projects, what some people call public housing. So I took a look at it. I said, okay. Now, mind you, at that time, I was in my 30s. I started drinking when I was 10. Didn't stop until my 30s. Didn't know what it meant to live without being under the influence of something. By the time I was 13, I was on heroin, drinking. So people with kids, please be aware of them. So I went to the job with my resume, probably looked like this piece of paper, and my whole goal was not to get the job. I didn't know they had the fix in for them to hire me, and I got hired. And I've been in love with this field ever since. And at the time I went into the field, you didn't have to be certified. But I wanted to get certified because I realized very quickly and early that my experience alone was not going to be able to help me help others. So I started the school right here at Harold Washington College. And Harold Washington has a great program and a great staff. I mean, they truly do. When I came back to come to school, I could only take one class as part of the wreckage of my past, because I would go to school, sign up, get them grant checks, get them student loan checks, and they wouldn't see me no more. Because then you didn't have to get no grades and keep them and stuff. They was just handing you money. So when I got back, man, I say, when was that? What? So they have a record of you people. And I continued to school, and I currently have a master's degree. And I currently work for DASA. Currently, I'm the HIV manager, and I'm very new in that position. But I'm excited about the position because I thank God, and anybody that know me, know my story, I thank God I don't have AIDS. And I am truly grateful. I turned 50, and I was so excited because I thought that I would never see 50. So I was real grateful for turning 50, but I shot dope with a group of friends that each and every one of them is dead today from AIDS. And I don't have the virus, don't have AIDS. So I am grateful. I have woke up in alleys, didn't know how I got there. So I am truly grateful to be here. I'm currently applying to go back to school to get a PhD. I am in the very early stages of applying. And my whole goal is because I want to affect policy. I want to stay in this field. I have a passion for it. I want to affect where we actually make a difference to the people on the street. I still live in the inner city, so I see the effects of drugs on the community every day. All me and my siblings was like getting high. So when they told me to leave my people, places, and things alone, I had to build a new family in recovery and leave my family alone. Only by the grace of God today, we are all in a program of recovery with the exception of one. But it's been a journey that I love. I have a passion for this field. I used to monitor for DASA, and when I went into programs, I looked to see what service they provide. I went to one program where they was working with kids, with the mothers, and it was no safety guards in the windows, and you could see where a kid had been playing with crayons and stuff in the window. I refused to leave there until they fixed it. I mean, because we can work in any area of this field, but whatever we do, we got to make sure that we doing this for the people that's out there that need the help, that want this. Recovery is possible, because if I can get clean, anybody can get clean. My sisters and brothers they just as drunk and high as I am, but they ran for me because I was a wonderful person. So I'm just telling you, I stay in this field because I love what it is that it represents, how it helps people, how it helps families, and I just love it. And so now I want to go on the policy side of it. So hopefully I'll get there and keep doing what I love doing.
Thank you, Carolyn. Just as with all of our other speakers, that's what we call keeping it real, y'all. I'm going to bring up Susan Moses and ask her to come to the podium so she can share her insight.
Hi, everybody. I think for hearing all the inspiring words today, you know why I'm here. I work at DASA in the Planning Bureau, but I think that I'm here because of all of you. This keeps me here. I have my degree in education, so, that's a nice segue into substance abuse. There's a lot of similarities in the field. I have my degree in secondary education, and back when there were no jobs in education, not like it is today, back in the 70s, I was looking for a job, so I went into government. And I found out by accident that maybe that's where I should have been all along, because I found a true passion for working in government. I enjoy influencing policy. I enjoy bringing resources to all of you in the field. I work very passionately to do that, along with the rest of my colleagues at DASA. I appreciate them every day. They work really smart with few people and few resources to help you all do the fine work that you're doing. I also was inspired, and I continue to be inspired by the experiences that I have working in the field. I recently came back from vacation. I was away for 2 weeks from the office. And, you know, you're dragging your feet. You're getting on that metro train. You're going, oh, my goodness, here I go again, back in the thick of work. And I was really dreading it. And I walked into the office, and I found out that everything that I imagined and dreamed with this webcast was coming together. We met the right partners. We met Harold Washington College. We met all of you, and you all agreed to speak about the field for us. And it all came together. And I was truly, truly, again, inspired. And I think as a teacher and as a communicator, that one of the things that I can bring to the field, even though I'm not in recovery personally, I love the stories, and I want to find many more ways for us to share those with the world, because we have to speak about addictions. We can't keep it quiet. There's lots of us, and we're here, and we're not going away. So hear our voices. Hear it loud and clear. Addictions, folks, in recovery and the workforce, we're here to stay. So I thank you for your kind attention. I challenge all of you out there listening to come join us in the field. We're looking for bright, energetic, passionate individuals to join our cause. So I thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn and Susan, for your inspiring presentations about your work in the field. On a personal note, I work in the Bureau of Management Operations, which is, we typically refer to ourselves as contract managers. And our function primarily is to advocate for our provider community, give them a voice at the tables when we're making policy for the state and those type of things. And like Susan said, we are comprised of a core of very passionate, talented, and creative people. And with that, I think that Illinois does a very good job in delivering treatment services and for people in recovery to be proud of. Before we conclude, we're going to take some time to answer some of the questions from the viewing audience. It's important to note, if you have submitted a question and it is not answered during the webcast, it will be answered by email.